Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Zoe. You've probably seen her before.
Hi.
Last video she was in was kind of like this one. We're literally just
We're
talking.
sitting in the same spot.
Yeah, we're talking. I almost wore the same shirt and then I changed my shirt earlier today because I realized I want a different shirt. But today we are going to be talking about whether it's okay to talk about celebrities' bodies. I'm sure you all have a lot of thoughts, but you're only going to hear from us today. But there's the comment section.
That is true.
So, do you want to introduce yourself a bit for people that don't know?
Hi, my name is Zoe. I'm Nathan's sister. I have a lot of opinions on this, and I'm in school for theater and film right now, so I am very highly aware of the cultural zeitgeist surrounding celebrities and body image, because it is an industry that for career purposes, I plan on being associated with in the least. So I am very conscious of this, and also as a young woman, I'm very conscious of the attitudes and conversations towards celebrities, specifically female celebrities, but I'd say all, but specifically female celebrities.
Yeah.
I think my credentials for this is I am a 19-year-old who is currently alive in America today. I'm a 19-year-old girl. So I am the target of a lot of these body image trends that are campaigned in celebrity culture.
Yeah. And I feel like, honestly, just being alive is kind of a credential for this too.
Oh, yeah.
So many people forget that, like, you can't exist without your body not being perceived.
Yeah.
Even women who are, due to religious pressures, fully cover themselves, they're still objectified. No matter, even though the point is to not be objectified, they're still objectified.
Yes.
So you can't exist without your body being perceived no matter what. And I think some people forget that, especially when people say, oh, you're only wearing that for attention. What if they want to wear it because they like how it feels and you're the only one thinking, like, about their bad intentions, possibly.
Yeah.
But, so let's just start off with, do you think it's ever appropriate to comment on someone's body?
Generally, no. I don't think it's ever appropriate. I think, and this is something that I'm sure we're going to elaborate on more later, I don't think the body, I'm going to say no flat out, because there's no such thing as a average healthy body. The only thing that I could find in the right circumstances appropriate to comment on is weight when you are a doctor or somebody in somebody's immediate circle. If somebody is underweight to the point of a deficit to their health or overweight for the same health reasons, and you are that person, like their parent or their sibling or their doctor, and you're like, I am concerned about you, that's different. But that's also a different thing, and I feel like there are certain celebrities right now, people are commenting on their weight in both directions, and some people will try to mask it as concern, especially with celebrities that are more underweight.
Yeah.
But in no situation do I think it's okay to be like, your body is ugly or your body is too big. I think that and I know we're going to talk about this, but the conversations that are, and the approaches to commenting on people's body, if they are underweight or overweight, are very different. But I'm kind of like going on it. I'm trying to find my thought. But the main thing is that, like, there's an idea that there's a healthy body, and what that healthy body is to society at this very moment is a standard that isn't natural for most women, or most women who aren't teenagers.
Yeah.
Because, I personally, I don't get into these conversations too much on social media, because I feel like as a woman, a lot of times it can be opening the gates for people to start commenting on your body. But it is an interesting thing to grow up around, and I've watched how people have commented on my body in positive and negative ways, and there have been a few points in my life where my body was something that needed to be commented on because I had a mental health and physical health problem, but that was more of a doctor mom conversation than it is like your distant cousin or your aunt or a stranger on the internet. Like, that's nobody
Yeah.
else's business. So generally, I'm gonna say no. It's never necessary to comment on how somebody's body looks, because I also think depending on who's commenting that, it can start to get into people believing that a woman's body is for them to, it's like for them.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if I don't care about Joe Schmo on the internet with a faceless profile photo? I don't care if he thinks that I'm fat. Like, but like just stating that opinion kind of gives
Yeah.
the idea that like you think this is something that concerns you, which I don't think anybody else's appearance should concern you
Yeah. And
unless you want to date them, and that's your own prerogative.
yeah, I think with people that you know, it also, you kind of have to listen to how people talk about their bodies themselves for you to really see, like, is this compliment actually going to come off as a compliment, or are they going to think that it's bad intentioned, or are they just going to think that, like, I'm straight up lying to them? Because people will get comments, like, positive comments about their body, but they'll still think, oh, you're lying. Like, not that, like, they think that their friend is a pathological liar, but just, you want to compliment me because you think that I need the compliment, but I don't feel
Yeah.
that way about myself.
I will. Am I cutting you off?
No.
I will also say, I think that going on what you said about thinking you're complimenting someone, this also goes in the direction where if you're aware that somebody has been struggling with a restrictive eating disorder, or on the contrary, if you're aware that somebody's been trying to lose weight, I think that there is a difference in how those things are approached, because I can say from my personal experience and personal experience of like close people in my life, when you tell somebody recovering from something like anorexia or bulimia, like, you look healthy, usually that is so well intentioned, and usually that's a way of saying, like, you have light in your eyes, you have energy, you seem happier, which are things you should be saying alternatively instead of you look healthy, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of times to the disordered eating brain, the words you look healthy is not the goal for a lot of people, and it's something that people are working away from. So bringing that back into conversation can be really triggering, because it's just a whole thing. And it's like, I will say also, this just comes with, I think, being a teenage girl. But especially because of my own issues, I grew up doing competitive dance, and that also brings its own entire
Yeah.
expectations. But I when I was recovering, I had a lot of people be like, you look healthier, or like, you look healthy. And I was never like offended, like, you're a mean person, why would you say that? It was kind of hard for me to process, because it's kind of acknowledgement, like, I am gaining weight, even if you're supposed to and you need to. It's like, it's not always nice to hear. And I would say maybe if somebody's trying to lose weight and they're like, I've lost 10 pounds, and you want to say, you look great, I don't think that that's like crossing a line, because that
Yeah.
that they opened the dialogue for that. It wasn't you. But I don't think that commenting that you noticed a change in someone's weight is necessary, because that just makes them way more aware that people can perceive that, which is always going to be a fact of life, like you kind of said. But I don't sit and think about what my friends weigh or what my family weighs in my free time, and I don't even really think about it when I'm like with them. I don't like, even if it's something like, I think it's stupid for people to be like, I would never notice if somebody lost 30 pounds. Like, yeah, you notice, but it's like, noticing and giving a can I cut?
Yeah, you can first.
Noticing
Yeah.
and giving a shit is very different than just like noticing and then moving on because you don't care.
Yeah. And I will say, I will say there have been times that I've thought not about people around me's weight, but just that I don't like fit in weight wise, because like I know people love saying, "Oh, America is like such a fat country," which like yeah, we have a lot of overweight citizens, but there's still so many places where like there's only one person in a group that's overweight. And
Yeah.
for me in school, that was most often me, that person. Like if there even was like, and occasionally there was like other overweight people in the group, but even though no one ever really bullied me about it, it still kind of felt like an unspoken thing that since no one's bringing up, I shouldn't be the one to bring up, oh, are we getting food, or like it feels like if no one else is drawing attention to it in the first place, like you saying the wrong thing could make people like snap out of the perception that everyone's the same when they're not. And it's so weird how like you can, as a fat person, if you talk about not only your body but how you feel about it, like people that haven't really ever been overweight, even if they've like struggled with perceiving their body, if they haven't been overweight, sometimes they might just not know what you're talking about. And I'm not saying that like they have to, because that like I don't want anyone to have these thoughts, but it's just crazy to think that some people have different life experiences based off of like their body shape. Especially because so many people actually do want compliments sometimes and then other people don't. I've noticed most people want compliments when they're losing weight, but only if they like disclose it. If they don't mention it, and even if they are losing weight, sometimes they still don't want compliments, you know? And like my weight has fluctuated a lot in the last 2 years. And in those years, I've gotten compliments like when I was at a lower weight. And even though like I technically knew, yeah, I am a lower weight than I was the last time this person saw me, it still didn't feel real because sometimes for some people it's only like a drastic weight loss that's really noticeable. And for me, like I'm talking about a 20-pound fluctuation. And for me, I never really like looking at pictures, I noticed, but in the moment, it's not necessarily body dysmorphia, but just because it happens so gradually, you don't really understand.
Yeah, it's like if you're around, I've had like not the same, but in the sense of like I don't fully notice when I've seen my body change, and again, as being a teenager, also because we're both very young adults, we're both the same age. Your body does change and it grows or it shrinks, and it does that because that's what puberty and growing into young adulthood does to someone. It isn't something you notice as much because it's gradual, and that's why it's like maybe your family, if you're like the people you live with, aren't going to notice this because they see you every day. And if you see someone every day and their body's been changing over the course of 2 months, it's been adjusting every single day you see them because you look at them with your eyes. So it's like when you haven't seen a relative for like 2 years. And also the difference in, I remember when I was at my like lowest weight, I was very unhealthy. So I wasn't being complimented then, but I think for me, it's something that I reflect on still, that being upfront, because I'm at a better point in my life now, but it's still a struggle because I'm still a young adult. But when I was 14, I was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa, and that was just something that I struggled with for a lot of my freshman year of high school. But I remember I've never been in the boat where I've been perceived as like overweight to the average person. But I remember like I was 13 and, you know, children have baby fat.
Yeah.
Because I was a child, and there are a lot of parts of me that like I am still very young because I'm 19 and I'm still technically a teenager. And I remember when I was like going down that path and I started losing weight, I was getting comments like, "You look great," as a 14-year-old girl who was anorexic.
Yeah.
And I'm being told by grown women most of the time, like, "Wow, you look good," or right, like you lost weight. And it's like, that's another thing. And it's like, I don't care what the circumstances. The only time where somebody commenting on my weight has helped me is when I was like close to a point of hospitalization because of mistreating my own body. There has been no other situation where I don't want compliments on it either. Because it's like, it also is like when you're recovering from that, you're so used to all these compliments about you being underweight, then when you stop getting the compliments, you're like, even if people aren't saying anything, you're like, oh, I'm gaining weight.
Yeah, I think this is a good transition to the next question I thought we should answer, which I do want to start off with. Like, start off with my answer.
Yes.
What are some differences in the ways that society treats over and underweight public figures / people? And the only reason I wanted to start off with answering this question is because for both underweight and overweight people, they'll say, okay, well, we're concerned about your health. And I will say there is such thing as genuine concern. I really do think there is. But there's a difference in how being underweight and overweight affects your life, where being underweight, like, okay, you can be underweight and overweight both to a point of like almost dying, but it's much easier to be underweight and about to die than overweight because overweight you have to literally be, depending on your height, it could require you to be like 700 pounds, and that's when you have like the immediate risk of a heart attack or something like that. But when you're underweight, all it can require is being underweight by like 30 pounds for some people. Again, it depends based on height. But so while I do think that there are some fans of celebrities out there that are overweight celebrities, their fans could be like, I am genuinely concerned. But for overweight people that aren't 700 pounds, the risk is more later in life. It's like 10 years or something shaved off your lifespan. You can have cancer faster, you can develop diabetes easier, all of these things that you more so experience later in life, which is why when you're an overweight person, but a young person like me, your doctor is going to be like, well, your blood work looks fine, but it's about preventing stuff in the future, which is understandable. So when people, for example, would comment about Lizzo's body in a way that was of concern of her, I do understand their concern because she was and still is overweight, but also she was dancing a lot. She still had an active lifestyle, active enough where she could perform concerts, sing her voice out, like do a ton of things that a lot of people, even I don't know how much she ever weighed because I don't care that much, to know that number. But I can tell you right now, so many other people in her weight would not be able to do those things that she was doing. So when we talk about having a health concern for people that are over and underweight, there's much different cushion room for those people. And when it comes to underweight celebrities, the cushion is again like could be 30 pounds for someone where there is that immediate risk. And I think fan concern can go for both under and overweight people, but like it's not, people just forget how the actual medical differences compare.
Yes, I fully agree with everything you just said. I also think that like Lizzo specifically is also probably healthier than a lot of people in America just because like you said, her lifestyle, she has the stamina to perform these shows. She danced a lot. She was making music, doing a lot of things that require a lot of energy. And it is also important to note that, like I was kind of saying earlier, the average or the healthy weight on someone can be something that society perceives as overweight. Same thing, it can also be something society perceives as underweight. Some people are naturally really skinny, and some people are naturally fat. And most doctors are also able to assess this based on your lineage, your genetics, your background, your lifestyle, which is what most doctors I feel like are using, because it's like, yeah, like there are also like drugs that are meant to help, not like drugs like street drugs, I'm talking about like medical drugs, that are meant to help someone who's like, I'm living a healthy lifestyle and I'm doing everything right and I can't get weight off. Because eating less is usually not the solution for people, because that is not sustainable. It's about your lifestyle. And I think that like nobody's weight is my business. What anybody is doing with their body is not my business. But Lizzo has been a very big like advocate for body positivity, and there's a very good chance that Lizzo's healthy weight is something that would be perceived as overweight by other people, but it's her being healthy and it's her being energized and living her life and being happy. And that can look different on so many people. And also the conversations that are had towards fat celebrities with concern. Like you were saying, I think you articulated that very well. I think that because the like spectrum of like what can be healthy on someone when you are more overweight, it's so much broader than, like you said, when it's underweight. And it like, I'm sorry, if I can see your whole sternum by your bones, and when you move your back, I see your shoulder blades pointing out and your skin is thin, that is not healthy on anyone. There is not a person where seeing all of your bones is healthy.
Yeah.
And I still don't think it's a fan's place to say something about a celebrity's weight, because they could be concerned, and I've been concerned about celebrities that I think are cool people from afar. But I would never go and comment that, and I feel like most people who I know wouldn't. Maybe we have conversations as people removed from that person's life that have nothing to do with them, because if you're a public figure, people are going to talk about you. You're a topic of conversation. Like, I've had many conversations about Ariana Grande as of late with other people in real life, but that's not something that I would personally take to Twitter or Instagram or her, because her health, I think that, from my opinion, I think she's so talented. I think she's always been a beautiful woman. I am concerned for her, but that's like something that's like not my business, and she has people in her life, and she's a grown woman. And at a certain point, I understand the concern, because I'm in the same boat, but like, she has millions of fans, and it is really none of their issue to be commenting on.
Agreed.
I do understand the cultural conversation we are having about Ariana Grande, because she has kind of become a representative of the current mindset and the shift in like the body positivity culture that is happening in 2026. So I understand using her as an example in a broader discussion, but when it's just like, I've seen people who are just being cruel.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's people who most of the time are trolling, and they just want a reason to comment on a woman's body, and that really goes both ways. But like, the difference between like how people, and I will get like, I'll hear that it's body shaming argument, but I'm saying this as somebody who's been, from a doctor standpoint, like at a healthy weight for majority of my life, and I had a little divot when I was experiencing a mental health and a physical health issue. Like, it is body shaming, but I don't think that the body shaming an underweight person faces is even comparable to what overweight and fat people experience. It's not the same. They're honestly kind of two separate issues. It's like when people will talk about women having problems, and people will be like, but what about the male suicide rate? And it's like, that's also an important issue, but you cannot say that like these problems, that in that situation, it's so sad how high the male suicide rate is and how much men's mental health is ignored. But it's like, it's the who set that system up thing. It's like, that is a product of the patriarchy. So it's like kind of like, it's not entirely the same, but I think when it comes to like severity, and I'm saying this as somebody who, again, has only really experienced like maybe the underweight. I don't think I was really body shamed though, which is also a thing.
Yes.
I was on the verge of being put somewhere or being like hospitalized, and people weren't shaming me in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Which I think is a huge, because I'm not a public figure. At least I wasn't then, and I don't consider myself one now. So I guess that it is different, but it's like, I was never once told that I was ugly and atrocious because I was too thin. And I understand that people are told that. I'm not saying it's not true, but I think that it's not comparable. It's almost an entirely separate issue. And like, as I've grown into an adult, and also I've stopped dancing for 20 hours a week, every week for, however many years I was dancing. Like, yeah.
Most of your years.
Most of my years. Given that I danced from ages 2 to 18. And I'm 19. Like, I always get kind of scared to, like, bring those things up, because I feel like it's going to open a gate for people to be like, well, I'm going to comment on your body, which is like, okay, yeah, whatever, have your opinion. That should not affect me. I'm not concerned about what most people have to say about it. But, like, it's so different that I get upset, because people also aren't, it's like, again, when you bring up the mental health thing, and that's like, you're not bringing that up because you care. You're bringing it up because you want to body shame fat people, or you want it to, like, you want to, like, indulge people who are who have unhealthy habits. Like, the reason you're saying don't body shame them, usually, is because you're trying to encourage this body image for women. Usually women.
Yeah, you've forced me to, not forced me. You've made me think of 2 points. One is that there's different kinds of oppression, and some are like invisible. I don't know if this is a coined term already, but I'm going to call it invisible oppression. So if you're an underweight person and you're being teased about it, being bullied, I'm not saying that that's not bad, because that is. You can, like you're tall. So, like, if you're being made fun of for being tall, it's like, okay, that's, it's bad, but it's something that you see.
Yeah.
I wish I had sources for this. I'll put some in the description. But fat people make less money over their lifetime because they are fat. Even if you don't hear a comment like, oh, you should eat a salad for lunch today from your coworker, your manager may still think of you as lazy because you're overweight and therefore not consider you for promotions or just like a yearly salary raise. So even though there are, of course, ways that you can be made fun of, bullied, or maybe even just flat out oppressed for being underweight, it's to a different extent and severity than it is for an overweight person who makes less money, who therefore may not even be able to afford, the healthcare that they need to get to a healthy weight. And I think people, when they complain about how underweight people are bullied and made fun of, I'm not, like, again, kind of like you said, they bring it up even though they don't care. They bring it up just to minimize other people's suffering, when it's like we're not saying that this isn't bad too. We're just saying one is affecting more people and in more ways. And it's not about ranking who's oppressed more,
It's not the oppression Olympics.
yeah, not to quote Audre Lorde, but
I quoted Ginny in Georgia.
but there's no like hierarchy of oppression here. That's not the goal. The goal is to listen to everyone, and the goal is to help everyone. And if you want to help underweight people that are being bullied, great, but don't do it at the expense of overweight people that are also being bullied and oppressed as well. Like I feel like this is so capitalism pilled for people to think that there's so much there's only so much resources and help and like social attention we can bring to issues, when it's like we as a society should be able to allocate resources, whether it's like social awareness or real hard cash, to the causes and the people that need it. But because we live in a society that teaches us to think of things, even like things such as time, as scarce, we think that we have to like fight over who gets what first, when it's like, how about we try to help everyone here?
I agree. I also want to quickly chime in and say, when I was saying earlier that, like, when I was at my most underweight and unhealthy, like, nobody insulted me, I want to reiterate, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying in my personal experience that didn't happen to me. And also, I have been insulted by my weight more at the weight I am at now than when I was unhealthy and underweight. And I'm not going to put myself into a category, because I think that a problem a lot of women have is that they can't call themselves skinny or fat because somebody's going to tell them they're wrong.
Oh my god, yeah.
So it's like, that's why I don't do that. I'm a human with a body and it functions, and I eat food because I want to be able to get good grades and do the things that I like to do. And I want my organs to work. So it's like, I'm not going to put myself in that box because I don't want it, because it's going to open up a door or conversation that I don't really want to have and I'm not mentally in the place to have.
Yeah.
And like, I'm okay with acknowledging that. But like, so whatever I'm at right now, which according to my doctor, you can't argue with that, is good and healthy, because I'm also nearly 6 feet and have been since I was 15. It's like, I've been insulted more now at a quote healthy weight according to my doctor than I was when I was underweight. Again, I'm saying that's my personal experience. I'm not saying that this applies to everyone. I'm just doing what I am qualified to say, which is that Because I just think I'm glad I wasn't shamed then, because even though I wasn't healthy, like, shaming wouldn't have done anything. But I'm saying I think that a lot of people would be able to kind of, like, agree with me in saying they've probably experienced similar things. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. The second thing that I wanted to bring up with this is that there are celebrities that, whether on their own or like whether intentionally by them or by society at large, make their weight part of their brand. And we've already brought up Lizzo. She's been a big person for body positivity, so that kind of makes sense why, like, her being positive about her body has become some of her brand. Which, by the way, people misinterpreted that so badly because, like, I think she's dropped weight in the last few years a little
Yeah.
bit.
And then people got mad at her for that,
Yeah,
too.
when it's like the whole thing wasn't that you should love being the weight that I am now. It's you can love yourself at whatever weight. That's what it's about. But then,
That's the whole movement. It's not saying that every weight is healthy. It's saying that your body is what holds your organs and everything that makes your body function. So it's not something that you need to make an aesthetic.
yeah.
You just need to take care of it.
And then I now want to bring up Adele because when she lost weight, some of her fans were also mad. This is, I want to say, like 2020, 2021 or something.
Yeah, because it was when she put 30 out, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
whoa!
But also, like, I've listened to more Lizzo than Adele in my life, but I don't ever remember, like, her weight ever being her brand, like something that she would bring up in her own songs, or even, like, that society would bring up that much anyways. So I'm like, why do you care? Like, also, we're talking about musicians here, which, yes, you see them at concerts, but if you're not going to their concert, you're not even gonna see them besides, like, the album art.
It, like, doesn't... The thing is, it's very much an issue, but it really should be a non-issue. It's another person existing that you're either parasocially connected to, or you probably care about to a normal extent that normal people care about other people they're aware of, but not to a weird level. Because it's like, people exist in bodies, and bodies are an aesthetic because of capitalism.
Yeah.
Because of the way that everything functions, and maybe not directly because of capitalism, but it is something that is a lovely byproduct of marketing an appearance, which is something that's natural or should be natural. Or I'm not saying if you have plastic surgery that that's bad. I'm saying that it's something that is inherently natural until you choose to modify it, which is fine. That's your own journey. I have no shame against, or I wouldn't have shame against people who do that.
Yeah.
Because that's also a product usually of society and how it's structured. It's not solely a capitalist thing. It is something that it's not helped by the system that many countries are under.
Absolutely. And I also want to bring up Taylor Swift because in her documentary, Miss Americana, she never outright said her eating disorder diagnosis, but it was very clear, like, in the context of what she was talking about with her body, that even if she wasn't diagnosed, she could have realized herself or her family that, like, hey, girl, what's going on with your body here, you know? And what sucks about people online is that, like, she would have been at the height of, like, maybe not even her eating disorder, because again, she never said if she was even diagnosed with one, but just like the peak of her being like at the lowest weight that she's been, people will like put a photo of her walking and you see her sideways and they'll call her Table Swift, which it's like not helpful, first of all. And second of all, again, we're talking about musicians here. These are not models. Like, and even with
And
models,
she could be a model, but that's still not the point.
even with models, it's not appropriate to call anyone a table or to call someone like, I don't know, a circle or a beanbag chair. Like, anything like this, whether it's someone overweight or underweight, it's a point of objectifying them because you're literally comparing them to an object.
Yes, and that goes both ways. And that's another reason why I'm saying that, like, hatred towards skinny women, it still exists. And I'm sure that this is a thing for thinner guys, but I'd say that out of all the gender and body type combination, I'd say thin guys get the least of it. I'm not going to say it's a comparable thing, so I'm not saying you can't be bullied. I'm just saying, usually, that's how it is. But the goal, and I kind of brought this up earlier and you bring it up now, of like, the whole reason people comment on women's bodies, whether they're doing this consciously or not, is to demean, degrade, and objectify them. No matter if they think that they're attractive, no matter if they think that they're healthy, like, it's a way to belittle them and humiliate them, no matter where they're at in their life. And I see that happening with Ariana. And I'm saying there are a lot of people having important conversations, but then there are just a lot of people who are just being outright mean. This happened with Cynthia Erivo, which is another layer, because I've heard a lot of, like, women of color specifically talk about how they face even more than, I'd argue, white women face when it comes to how their bodies are perceived, because there's a layer of racism that's also attached to that.
Yeah.
Like, also the fact that nobody brought up, people are talking about Ariana and, like, don't body shame. I didn't see that energy towards Cynthia Erivo when they were at very, very similar points. They were around each other all the time, and it's like, both two celebrities who I've deemed, in my personal opinion, I think they're both very talented and seem sweet from a removed perspective. But it all comes back to, especially with, like, the internet and female celebrities, it's like, concern is one thing, and it's valid, but most people don't care about these people. And it goes back to your first question about, is it ever appropriate to comment on? No. But when you have incel forums that are dedicated to just, like, commenting on the current state of a woman's body or a girl's body, it's because they view them as less than, and they are, like, just watering them down into this thing that exists for them. It's like, I'm not a fucking customizable, like, American Girl doll.
Yeah.
I'm a woman.
We're not playing The Sims here.
Yeah. Like, yeah, if you want to control someone's body, go play The Sims.
Yeah. Also, last thing I want to say before we move on to our last question is that I think there's so much parasocial, I don't know if this is a word, parasociality out there that people think celebrities owe us shit when they don't, because if you're, like, let's say a celebrity, we've been talking about musicians, if you go to their concert, you pay for their concert, they owe you a good show. If you pay for their music or just listen to it for free on Spotify, I mean, you're listening to ads, so they owe you good music. But if they're walking down the street, they're not working. Like, sure, you can ask them for a selfie, but it's just like you asking a random no one in the line for a coffee shop for a selfie. This person does not owe you shit. You bought their album, they gave you the album. That's the end of the transaction. They don't owe you a selfie. They don't owe you a smile. They don't owe you, like, a video that you can send to your friend. So I think it's sweet when I scroll social media and I'm like, oh, like, this celebrity, you know, said hi to my friend and I got to send it to that. Like, I think that's cool, but that doesn't mean that they owe you it. Like, we're not, like, people say, oh, we've given this celebrity so much money, so much fame. Fame is not something you can liquidize. That requires work. You pay for their album. You pay for their movie. Yeah, we gave them money, but they gave us something in return already. We don't deserve their time just because we saw their movie. We deserve to see the movie because we paid for the movie.
Chappell Roan has done nothing wrong.
Agreed.
To any one of her fans, or at least not in a way that has been publicly confirmed. She has not done, this is a slightly different conversation, but I just need to say it. She's not done anything, like, at all, except exist as a queer woman who's talented.
Yeah.
That is what she does. I don't care that Chappell Roan doesn't want to be bothered when she's out on a walk getting coffee. I also feel the same way.
We don't want to be bothered.
It's not like she's saying, don't talk to me if she were to be at a meet and greet. I've seen videos of Chappell Roan interacting at fans at events that were similar to meet and greets, or, like, concerts, or, like, festivals, and she seems sweet. And in the most detached, not me being parasocial way, in the videos that I have seen of her interacting with fans when prompted and respected, she seems like a nice, normal woman. Yeah. She has done nothing wrong, to my knowledge.
Yeah, like if you're annoyed that your manager tries to call you outside of office hours on your personal cell phone, you should also be annoyed on maybe okay, you don't have to be annoyed on behalf of a celebrity, but at least empathize with them.
Yeah.
Because that's how it feels for them. It's like I'm not working, I'm enjoying myself with my friend out in public. Like, I might get stares, but I don't want like a huge line of people asking for a selfie.
Yeah.
So whenever someone's like, "Oh, this celebrity was so mean to me because they didn't offer a selfie," I'm like, how do I even know you were a fan, first of all? And even if you were, that still doesn't mean that they owe you anything.
Yeah. And like, also, quick thing before you ask your last
Yeah.
your question. I do understand when people are like, I don't feel bad for celebrities, they're rich. I'm
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
to a certain extent, it's like, yeah, I do get that, but also like, there are rich people who aren't celebrities, and you don't do that things to them. Or also,
Yeah.
people perceive because somebody like people will be like, oh, this person's been in a movie, so they obviously live in a mansion. And I'm saying as somebody who's getting into the theater, film, entertainment industry, or at least like studying it, and I like am aware of it, and have talked to people who are in that industry and have been in like movies and TV shows. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Just like most people who have been in like seasons and seasons of television might be living in an apartment like a regular person their age.
Yeah.
And obviously there does come like privileges because they have more ways to be like they could get a sponsorship, or they have like other venues that they can get money because they're known, which I totally understand. I am saying that I think that people think because someone's famous they are rich, which is oftentimes very true, and I'm not saying we need to defend those people. I'm just saying that's another thing to think about. That's not how anything works. And most of them are managed by really greedy corporations, especially
Yeah.
musicians.
Yeah. Like, I'm not asking you to feel bad for them. I'm just saying try to understand from their perspective a little bit. Last thing, ironically, the first question that I wrote down when I was writing down questions: how can we draw the line between cruelty and genuine concern? You can go first because I literally don't have any thoughts on this yet.
I think we have touched on this in various ways in like this
Yeah.
chat. I think it's about intention, yes, but it's more about impact. Because, like I said, a lot of the comments that people, and I understand it's also a generational thing, because a lot of the people who will comment, especially if it's like someone you know in person, if like you've lost weight and they're like, oh my god, you look so good, you lost weight, or the opposite of, oh my god, like you gain weight and you look healthier. I do think that both of those statements are well intentioned, totally not meant to be harmful, like not meant to be insulting, no malice from that person. But it is something that if you take 2 seconds to think about, I don't care what generation you're a part of or what was normalized when you grew up, like, just listen about how other, like, many conversations like this are had. We are not the first to talk about any of these things. It's kind of a common courtesy thing. I think that it's kind of common sense to, like, you don't bring up someone's weight unless they bring it up first. That's the rule that I was raised with.
Yeah.
And even then, I get really annoyed when I hear people who are I'm not gonna say like of a certain body type, but usually when they're not overweight and they're talking about, oh my god, I'm so fat, oh my god, I want to lose weight, it's like, do I get an urge to just be like, shut the fuck up? I have that urge every time. I have friends who I love dearly who, or like acquaintances, I'd say more acquaintances because most of my close friends are not like this, but it's like, also, expressing feeling insecure is not the same thing as what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being in a room full of people and fishing for like, oh my god, I look so fat in this. Especially when you're around people who weigh more than you do.
Yeah.
Biggest pet peeve. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to get too far into that because
It's all right.
a woman talking about how being fat and skinny just opens a lot of doors that I don't want to open for myself. But like, I think that cruelty is most comments on weight. Again, I don't think that someone's a cruel person if they've said something and not thought it through.
Yeah.
But it can also be cruel action. I think concern is, like I've voiced earlier, concern comes from your family or a doctor or a really close friend. nobody else should know you enough to have that concern. And again, I'm not saying that you can't be like, that person is visibly unhealthy and have a conversation about it, but like that is also something that's like, that's a person that you don't know. There are millions of people talking about how female celebrities look, and none of them have ever had a conversation with them or anyone in their family. It's like that, like, that's where the line gets kind of difficult, because I understand when people criticize that, or like have, I'm bringing it back to Ariana.
Yeah.
As someone who I am, as an artist and as like an actor and singer, I'm a fan of her work. She's very talented, and people lying about that are simply just lying.
Oh, yeah.
But I personally unfollowed her on Instagram for the time being because I was following her and the things that she would put. And I hate when people are like, don't post your body when you look like that, because it's triggering me, because that is something that's underweight people do hear a lot. And that is one thing that I'm like, so that is how that person exists.
Yeah.
But then it also comes back to the reason that I unfollowed her is I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and comment, you need to eat a burger. I'm going to do what I need to do for myself. And if you need to unfollow somebody because looking at their body makes you feel awful, you don't need to tell that person that. You can just silently unfollow. And for me, it was just like, I, as a person who has watched people struggle with disordered eating, who has experienced disordered eating, to varying extents, it's not something that I want to have in my feed, which is also something with like a bigger conversation about social media. So it's like, that's your personal thing, but I don't know Ariana Grande, and I don't think, and I'm talking about this here because we're having a conversation, but I went on a bit of a tangent, but I understand people make the argument like, she's a role model for young girls, which usually is an argument that I get pissed by, because most of the time I'm like, it's not the responsibility of one person to uphold a standard for society. It's society that's putting that standard on other people. But when you are as famous as Ariana Grande, I can kind of see that, where it's like, this is the standard, but also it's like, the standard right now isn't just because of one person. The standard right now is because of many different things, some being argued reasons, some being indisputable facts, but like, I'd say that more so the rise in like thin is in has come from the shift in political climate of the general USA, and a fad of people liking body positivity, and now corporations don't care, and like all these things have come back, and it's not the responsibility of one woman, but people find that one woman should be responsible for the society that made her that way.
Yeah. And I think like something I just also want to bring up, and then I think we might be done, maybe. So I'm saying this as someone who is on a weight loss medication right now. Like, people have for decades tried to advertise like diet pills that don't work, but now that there's one thing that could actually help people eat less and therefore then lose weight with the medication, these pharmaceutical companies are going hard with the advertising, and there's even been so many like healthcare technology startups that are literally just selling it yourself and being like, oh, you don't even need a prescription, you don't have to go to a doctor in person, you just need this like live thing. And I like, again, I'm someone on one of these medications. I'm on Zepbound, the lowest dose, so like I'm someone that it will be helping me, and I understand that it helps a lot of people, but it also can be enabling some people that are perfectly healthy or maybe even already underweight to further go down a path of, I don't know, maybe disordered eating is the right word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it affects how much you eat. Of just not taking care of their bodies, harming their bodies. And medication like this should be very much regulated for people that, like, A, it's for diabetics, and also, two, is approved for people that are very overweight. But if you're not overweight, like, just try it yourself. And even then, if you don't lose the weight that you want to lose, like if it's 5 pounds, 5 pounds is a small difference. Like
5 pounds
your
is
joints are
something
gonna be
that-
fine in 50 years if
Yeah.
you keep that 5 pounds.
5 pounds is something that, like, that, if you want to, and you want to do that healthily, and you're like, I think that the numbers are also something that's concerning and something that is a very diet culture thing, because there's not a healthy number, there's a healthy person. So it also, if your doctor is to tell you you're going to be healthy in this weight range, that's your healthy numbers, but it's also, like, people gain weight when they gain muscle mass. And, like, the idea, I'm not saying it is like this, but the idea should be, it's like, okay, if you want to have a more balanced, not restrictive, but balanced diet, and you want to work out more, great. If that results in you losing 5 or 10 pounds, that doesn't mean that you were overweight before. That just means that your body's adjusting to a different life, like, style, or different, not even full lifestyle, but, like, a different habits.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's something that, also, we're having this conversation, and I think that it is important to state that, like, if you have these thoughts of, like, I have this number I want to be, or I have like, you're not evil for thinking that. You're not evil for thinking you're fat. You're not evil for thinking you're too thin. You're not evil for thinking that your body isn't good enough. You're not even evil for being the people that do sometimes annoy me when they're like, oh my God, I'm so fat. Because usually it's like, I don't hate you. I get slightly annoyed if somebody thinner than me is talking about how fat they are, because I'm like, okay. But I'm never gonna say that person, usually woman, but that person is evil or wrong or mean for saying that, because I have similar thoughts in my head. Most people do, especially young people, young adults. It's not one person's fault that that's a thought that so many people have, because again, if so many people are thinking like that, there's a reason that isn't an individual, it's a system. And expectations for people. People aren't evil for falling subject to the standards that have been set by a society, because it's not one person's responsibility. You can do your part in trying to be more mindful about how you speak, but also, like, I'm saying a lot of things that are things that I have struggled with before, and it's like, you also have to choose when to voice these things. And, like, I have friends, and I am like this with friends, where if my friend is voicing, like, I feel that I look this way, and I feel hurt about that, that's not them fishing for attention, that's them confiding in me, and that's a very different thing. That's usually just young adults bonding over a system that is inherently messed up and not benefiting people. Like, that's not... These conversations are important to have. It's just, like, very important that you approach them with mindfulness. And just try to be aware about how you approach these things. And also, quick thing to add, when you were talking about the weight loss medication, don't they also make, like, the prices for those, like, higher?
They're trying to lower it.
That's good, but I think that...
It really depends on how you take the dose.
A greater issue is that when people need things to exist, they go, we're gonna make those cost money, which is a very basic principle of capitalism, but, like, it's like, my inhaler costs, like, $400, $500, and they expire after 2 years if I don't use all the puffs that are on it, because there's, like, 200. And to be fair, I probably should use my inhaler more than I do, but it's like, I'm asthmatic, and if I were in a situation... I'm lucky enough to live close to a hospital and have health insurance. So it's like, I probably wouldn't die, but, like, and my EpiPen.
Yeah, those are, like, thousands, right?
I have a deathly allergy, and I have an EpiPen, again, which is a privilege. And that shouldn't, the mic was right here. I might have been peeking the audio.
That's all right.
Which is a privilege. But the fact that me having an EpiPen because I have a deathly allergy is a privilege is really messed up. So, I'm just saying, I think that the weight loss medication has become another American healthcare problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And whenever someone thinner than me says, oh my gosh, I feel like a whale right now, I'm like, do you think I'm moon? Do you think I'm the moon then?
Do you think I'm this planet?
Like, I don't say that out loud, but that's what I'm thinking, because I'm like, okay, sure, whatever.
I had a friend tell me, like, because I had a very open, mindful, productive conversation with a friend of mine who's around my age, and she was like, sometimes with my very close friends who we've already established, like, comfortability and, like, humor with each other, if I have a friend who's beautiful and gorgeous and they're talking about how they look like a whale, sometimes to just make that, like, to, like, kind of, like, make them hear what they're saying, I'll go, yeah, you're a fat fucking whale. And then they go, yeah, I'm being ridiculous right now. And then you go, yeah, because it's like, you don't mean it. But it's like, humor can also help a lot of things. And I think I heard that, I was like, that's really funny. And I'm going to start using that for myself. If I'm looking in the mirror and I go, oh my God, I look disgusting, I'm going to go, yeah, you're disgusting, Zoe.
Yeah.
Like,
stop being on some pig shit with these fat fucks.
It's like my favorite SNL. Well, that was SNL.
No.
Right? Wasn't it one of the girls?
That was someone. That was like, you should leave or something.
I think you should leave.
Yeah, I think you should leave Netflix.
Okay, but one of the girl who was narrating it was on SNL.
I think so.
Yeah,
maybe.
And that's one of my favorite, like, slopping on these.
Yeah.
With these fat fucking pigs.
Shove my fucking lord carcass into the ground or whatever.
Actually, that's a really good, like, example of how I feel like diet culture refers to women.
Yeah, it's like slop down some more pig shit. Like, that's how they talk about women.
Yeah, or we're not going to get into this because I know that this video is already really long, but the whole, like, I understand the humor and, like, there is a way, like, and I understand because, like, I have friends who joke like this and I have made jokes like this where it's, like, I don't necessarily make the big back jokes because I don't think that they're funny.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying anybody who makes those jokes is fatphobic or mean. I'm saying that trend is more of a sign of something else. But, like, the whole, like, I'm just going to eat so much because I'm so big. And it's, like, sometimes it's, like, I think a lot of people saying this are, like, saying it in a roundabout way to be like, it's so stupid to talk like this. Or at least in my friend groups, it's, like, if somebody says something along those lines, it's not, like, because they actually believe it. It's because they're like, this is a problem with our society. Like, I'm going to joke about it. Humor's a really good coping mechanism, but I do think that there are lines when the whole big back thing was a thing and it just turned into fat shaming people for eating food. It's like, okay, like, guys.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. I don't think that that's productive.
It's not.
I don't think that's working. And that's why, in general, to the first question you asked, it's commenting on somebody's body. Just don't do it. No. Never necessary.
Never do it.
If you want to compliment someone, even you could say, "Wow, you're glowing. Wow, you seem so much happier. Wow, you have nice eyes. Wow, you have a nice smile." Like, there are so many ways to respectfully compliment someone.
Yeah. And not like, you give good
Objectify.
hugs.
You give good hugs. I bet you smell so good.
The ground blooms with flowers when you walk.
And I'm sorry, I keep saying this. I'm mad that the compliment that once was, you have the body of a Greek goddess, has now just been a sneaky way to call someone fat.
Yeah.
Because I think, inherently, that should be a beautiful thing. But I'm never going to say that to someone because there's an additional and also, I'm not going to comment on someone's body, but, like, even if, like, that should be such a high compliment, and I still think it is, but I do understand that turned into a lot of people's ways of saying, you're not skinny, and you're not really fat. And I'm like, yeah, you're a woman. You're a grown-ass adult. And that's okay. You're allowed to develop as a woman past the age of 18, and that is a natural thing that happens in the female body. And I think men do also, like, develop a change after 18, too. But it's like, your body is gonna keep growing when you're done getting taller. That's how just science works.
Yeah. I mean,
so many compliments have become, like, backhanded. That should be nice. Like, telling someone that they look like they would smell good. Like, inherently, that should be good, but it's become a way to just be like, I'm gonna say something, because I think my voice needs to be heard about this. And it's like, girl, shut up. Yeah. No, I don't care.
Yeah. Just remember, the fascists want women to be weak.
Yes, that is also another thing.
Yeah.
I work on that, and I talk about that in therapy, because it's like the whole, it's either, in the Eurocentric beauty standard for women has a tendency to be a wee pedophilic.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want a woman to have curves or
body hair. Yeah, body hair too. Like, I'm a gay man, so, like, exclude me from this, but I am gonna say, like, if you don't like the body hair on a woman and you find it unattractive, just don't date her.
Yeah.
Don't try to date her and then ask her to shave for you.
No, and that is also, I think that the only concern that people at a base level should have is whether or not they wash those areas of their body, because the amount of hair does not determine how hygienic someone is. It's whether or not they're washing them. And I'd be really concerned if you don't think washing them. Like when women have hairy armpits and they're like, that's unhygienic. I'm like, are you not washing your armpits?
Also, body hair exists to like catch bugs from like biting you.
Yeah, it's also like
so
totally
it is.
up to
I would
people.
argue it's more hygienic to have it
Also,
as long as you clean.
There
those
is nothing
areas.
wrong with wanting to shave yourself. There's nothing like it's
Just
your
don't
fucking
ask
body.
the people around you to.
It's. I think that also preferences. I don't want to say that a preference is inherently pedophilic. It's probably a product of
A pedophilic culture.
Yeah. I'm not saying that people who think like that or men who think like that actually are. I don't know why I'm speaking in the tone that I am, but I'm not saying that the men who follow their preferences follow the beauty standard. I'm not saying that means that they're pedophiles. I think that that's also an important distinction to make because when you say that the beauty standard is Eurocentric and pedophilic, people get really like, whoa. It is, but it's a conversation that needs to be had, not a like cut and dry. If you like women who are conventionally attractive in whatever American society deems attractive, like then you're I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Because that's also rude to the women who are grown and do look like that, because they do exist. It's a lot of walking on eggshells, which is what it does a lot of. But, and I feel like this conversation has just been but this is also true, because it's a very nuanced subject. But yeah, it's like also like with like body hair. It's like anything about like a woman's body. Like if this is something you can control in a healthy way, that is your journey. And that is not for anyone else to be like, cut that shit.
Yeah.
Because preferences are okay, but hard, like, you can't look like that if you're going to be, like, no. Like, don't be with that person. and like, yeah, because I don't think that someone's wrong for having a preference, but I think that, like, shouldn't be a deal breaker.
Yeah. If it's a deal breaker, then you break up with that person.
Yeah.
Don't force them to your standards.
Also, most people shouldn't be concerned about where you have body hair so long as you wash it. I think that there's a lot of men who don't wash their armpits because they think that women having armpit hair is unhygienic, and I'm like, they're bathing. I don't know. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening in this society.
All right. Thank you so much for watching / listening. Maybe you put this on in the background.
Oh my God,
Hope
yeah.
you enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure you have thoughts. Leave them in the description. Not the description.
Leave them in my description. I'll put all of them into it.
Log into my computer and do that on my behalf. Kidding. There's a comment section for that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Do you have any last thoughts? Do you have anything to plug? I don't know.
My name is Zoe. I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to have this conversation. Just remember that your body is not an aesthetic or a trend, and your body stores your organs and is something that merely exists so that you don't die, because without a body, your organs would fall everywhere and you would die.
Yes, girl.
And that is something that's a lesson that I'm learning currently, and it's something that is good to have in your mind, because even when you struggle, it is always comforting to have that thought that your body is not an aesthetic, your body is not a trend, and body neutrality, which we didn't get to, is very important. You exist, and that is good, and you should keep existing. And with that, I hope you have a really lovely day, and I hope you eat a really lovely meal. Or more, or multiple, depending on what time of day it is. It's almost dinner time, so for me, I'm like, I hope you have a lovely dinner. But like,
oh my God.
I hope you have a lovely day of treating yourself with kindness and fueling your body, and maybe seeing some friends. Maybe doing something that you find enjoyable. It's all about that healthy lifestyle. But whatever that is for you, I hope that you can indulge in that today.
Yeah. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.